going to be doing a NBA mock draft video. I will start by saying that with this video, I will be making the selections as if I was the general manager for each team. I will not be making these selections based off of what I think the team will actually be doing. So that'll be a separate video. If you do enjoy this type of content, please hit that subscribe button as I will be making more videos like this in the near future. Also, please hit that like button. Today's actually my first video for the channel, and any support that I can get, it is much appreciated. Now let's get right to it with my first selection. Um, if I am the Atlanta Hawks here, the biggest thing that I'm looking for is defense, specifically in the interior, especially with Clint Capella on the last year of his deal. I'm looking for his replacement, and for me, it's an obvious choice. I'm gonna go Alex Sarr here. I believe he has major upside. To me, he's kind of similar to a player like Bam Adebayo in a sense. He can guard the perimeter. He's quick laterally. He has the potential to space the floor, and I think he'd be a great pairing whether the Hawks decide to keep Trae Young or not. So Alex Sarr is going to be my first selection here. Now with the number 2 pick, we have the Washington Wizards. If I'm the Wizards, I know that there's several different options that any of these teams can pick, especially with this year's draft, right, being up in the air. I'm sure once we get to the actual NBA draft, I'm sure we'll get more of an idea as far as what these teams will actually be picking. But if I'm the Washington Wizards here, I'm looking at a couple of players. The first players that come to mind is Zachary Reese-Shea, Donovan Clingan, Rob Dillingham, and Nikola Topic. Just looking at their roster, I see they have Kyle Kuzma, Deni Avdija, Bilal Coulibaly, Corey Kispert. They seem to have like a lot of wings. Um, so I don't really want them to go Zachary Reese-Shea, only because with his type of play style, I feel like he would need more established point guard, or a more playmaking point guard, I should say, and which is ultimately going to leave me to picking Nikola Topic. I believe he can be a great player for this organization. He can set up his players, Bilal Coulibaly, Deni Avdija, and he can be that connecting piece that this team, I feel really needs. So I'm gonna go Nikola Topic. I know with his injuries, maybe that'll kind of scare the this team away from picking him, but I think he's worth the risk at the number 2 pick, especially in this type of draft. So I'm gonna be picking Nikola Topic with for the number 2 pick here for the Washington Wizards. Now, if I am the Houston Rockets, same thing for this team. They have a lot of wings, so I don't think they go Zachary Reese-Shea. They have, Amen Thompson. They have Jabari Smith Jr., who I feel Zachary Reese-Shea is, a very similar type of player to a player like Jabari Smith. They have Jashawn Tate, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason, Reggie Bullock. Now, some of these players I know they're not going to be there long term, but for the most part, I feel like they have players that they do plan to keep for his position. So I don't think they go Zachary Reese-Shea. I think they are going to be looking at a player like Donovan Clingan, especially since they tried to trade for a center back in the trade deadline last year. I know that they recently picked up Steven Adams, so if they want a player like that, then I would go Donovan Clingan. Another player that I'm going to be looking at is Reed Sheppard, and for me, I'm going to be picking Reed Sheppard, and I'll tell you why. It's because I feel that Fred VanVleet isn't a long-term point guard, and I feel that Reed Sheppard is a player that they can grow with. They can see him as a long-term player that they keep and develop. I feel he's very similar to Fred VanVleet. He can learn a lot from Fred. I know Fred only has a couple of years left on his contract, so he can learn a lot just playing behind Fred or even alongside Fred. Reed Sheppard in college, was a great off-ball player. He led the percentage in three-point shooting in college. He in the NBA draft combine, he has I think he had the highest vertical, so that was pretty impressive in college. I believe he averaged 2 or 2.5 steals, so he's not a slouch on the defense. I know he's undersized for a guard, but he can definitely space the floor, especially by playing with players like Alperen Sengun, Amen Thompson. I feel like he would just complement those type of players very, very well. Even for a player like Jalen Green, I think it would be a really good pickup for the for the Rockets. So I'm gonna be going Reed Shepherd. Now for the San Antonio Spurs, you can see here I do have a Ginobili jersey, and if I'm the Spurs, I'm excited here. A player that I want in my team is Zachary Risachet. I believe he does feel the need for something that we need. We need some size at the wing position. We need some shooting, especially with having Victor Wembanyama. We need floor spacing, and Zachary Risachet definitely fills that void. He can take over Julian Champagne's starting position. Zachary Risase has high upside. He's great in transition. And yeah, if I'm the Spurs, I'm really excited, and I would hope that they pick Zachary Risase if he's available at 4. Now with the 5th pick, I am kind of disappointed, right? If I'm a Pistons fan, for 3 years in a row, we've had the worst um, record in the league, right? 3 years in a row. So I am devastated that we didn't get the number 1 pick. But hey, let's make the most of it. I feel with this team, you do need to go for upside. I don't think you can really go based off of best fit with this type of team. I think you just need to stack up wins for next year. Couple players that come to mind is Matas Buzelis, Stefan Casso, Ron Holland, and Cody Williams. And if I am the Detroit Pistons, I'm looking for a floor spacer, which basically X's out Stefan Casso and Ron Holland. Matas Buzelis, it kind of X's those type of players out. So I'm going to be going Cody Williams just because I feel that he can definitely space the floor. I know a lot of people and a lot of experts compare him to a Jaden McDaniels. So if he can be anything like that type of player, I think that'll be, a great role player for this team. I think he could, definitely help defensively, gives him some size. He's listed at 6'8", so I'm going to be going Cody Williams here. Has high upside as well. Now with the Charlotte Hornets, I think the best player for them is actually going to be Stefan Casso, and I'm going to tell you why. Is because with LaMelo Ball, I definitely do think that he is a all-star caliber player. I think he's a great player, but the fact of the matter is he's always hurt, right? And now with Stefan Casso, he played point guard in high school. And in college, he was a winning player. He made winning plays. He was a monster defensively, especially out in the perimeter. And with the Charlotte Hornets, I feel that they need a player of his type who can bring those winning plays to the team. Especially with you already have a player like Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, so I don't think you really need to go for that high of an upside. Although Stefan Castle, I mean, I'm not trying to say he doesn't have the upside of those type of players, but a lot of people view him as not high of an upside compared to like maybe a Ron Holland or Matas Buzelis if all things click for those type of players. But for the Charlotte Hornets, I'm going to be going Stefan Casso, and I think he'd be a great addition to this team. Now for the Portland Trail Blazers, for their 7th pick, um, I think I'm gonna go Donovan Clingan here. They already have, a plethora of guards. They have, Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp. I think those players are all all-star caliber players. I don't really think they need to go too high of upside here. I think they need a great center, defensive center, to kind of hold down the fort for them. If they get beat out in the perimeter, they can, kind of focus their defense on the interior with Donovan Clingan. And plus, having a player like Donovan Clingan kind of puts the pressure on DeAndre Ayton. I'm not sure if, a lot of Blazers fans were kind of happy with his play, with his time there in Portland. And for a player who makes $34 million a year, I think you'd want a little bit more from him. So hopefully, by picking a player like Donovan Clingan, it kind of puts that pressure on DeAndre Ayton to step up his game. If not, then hey, I believe Donovan Clingan can be a player like Rudy Gobert in the future. So I think this is a great pick for them. With the 8th pick, for my San Antonio Spurs again, I know I'm a little biased here. Maybe these players don't fall to us, and this is basically what I'm hoping for. And even with my previous picks, I'm not trying to save these players just for the Spurs. I really genuinely feel like the picks that I made for each of those teams before me. Um, or what I would do if I were the fans for each of those teams. So, with all that being said, is I'm happy to have Rob Dillingham fall to the Spurs. I feel that he can be a great pairing with Victor Wembanyama. And I've seen different reports and a video of Rob saying that if he were to come to the Spurs, he would know his type of role in the Spurs team. Basically just said that he'd be looking to give Victor Wembanyama the ball. So by him already knowing his role on the team, I feel like that's a great start. And ultimately, I think he can be a player kind of like Trey Young and Darius Garland if all pans out for Rob Dillingham with his playmaking, right? So that's the kind of player that I hope he can be, and I think he can be in our Spurs system. So I'm gonna be going Rob Dillingham, great floor spacer, great addition to the team. So I'd love to have him. Now with the ninth pick, there's a different, couple of options I think we can go here. I think we can go Ron Holland, Dalton Connect if they want a more NBA ready type guy, Matas Buzelis if they want upside. But ultimately, I think they want a player that is great defensively, right? So, especially with the addition of Marcus Smart, I think the writing is written on the wall as far as the type of players that they want, right? They want a defensive player, and for me, I think they need size at the wing. Having Jaw at 6'2", Desmond Bain 6'5", not Jaren Jackson, Marcus Smart at 6'3". They're kind of small, so I think they need some size at the wing positions, and that's ultimately going to lead me with picking a player like Ron Holland. I think he'll complement their play style very well as far as running out in transition. I felt like this team was always fast paced, and I think he'd be a great complement to John Morant. The only thing I wish that Ron Holland would provide would be 3-point shooting and can provide floor spacing. But if his shot can develop, then this would be a match made in heaven for this team. So, in the beginning of the year, even now, a lot of people think Ron Holland has the upside to be the number one pick. So maybe he does, turn out to be the best player in this draft. Who knows, right? But I think Ron Holland is a match made in heaven here. If I am the Utah Jazz, I'm probably going to be going with the player with the highest upside here. Um, and with for the remaining guys on the board, I think that's either going to be Tajon Salon or Matas Buzelis. And I'm going to be picking Matas Buzelis here only because I feel that he has great size. He's 6'10". Same thing for Salon. They're both the same size, right? But with Matas Buzelis, he had a lot of hype coming into this draft. There were talks about him being the number one pick, and what kind of made him dip is his lack of 3-point shooting and playing alongside Laurie Markkinen, um, Colin Sexton, Keontae George. I think that'll just leave a lot of open shots for Matas Buzelis to really develop and key in on making those catch and shoot threes. Maybe I think he'll be open in the corner a lot, so that'll definitely boost his percentage. He was a great shooter in high school, so I believe he can definitely get back to that. It's just going to take a bit of adjustment. So playing in the G League Ignite, he's already familiar with the NBA range and different NBA concepts that'll be focused on him. So hopefully in his rookie season and the actual NBA, that'll help him that much more with his play style. So I'm going to be picking Matas Buzelis here. Chicago Bulls. So with them, I feel like that's a little bit of a weird team. If I were them, I'd trade DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, players like that. I really wouldn't want to be stuck, in mid pack of the Eastern Conference. But hey, rumors are saying that DeMar DeRozan is gonna re-sign with the Bulls, and Bulls are interested in re-signing him. So if that's the case, maybe you go a player that's more established like Dalton Connect. But for me, I'm gonna go high upside, which is Tajon Salon. I think he has the highest upside with the players left on the board. And with a player like Patrick Williams not signing his extension last year, and we don't know what he's going to end up doing, I feel that Tajon Salon can fit right in at that power forward position, small forward position, just whatever they need for him to play. I feel like he can fill that void with Patrick Williams potentially leaving that team. For the OKC with their 12th pick, I think this is a no-brainer. I'm gonna be going Dalton Connect. I feel like he can, basically fill the need that they thought that Gordon Hayward would have brought this year, right? Especially with a player like Josh Giddey being, sat out in the second round of the playoffs against the Mavs, and them ultimately going with a player like, who was it? What's his name? Where is he at? Isaiah Joe, right? I feel like Dalton Connect is, he's a little bit bigger than Isaiah Joe. He's 6'6", so he has a little bit more size. And in college, Dalton Connect was a killer. He was a great floor spacer, high IQ player. Cuts in transition. Well, he's a little bouncy too, so don't sleep on on his balance. I'm not saying he's the most athletic player in the draft, but he can definitely catch some bodies if you get caught lacking, and I think he'd be a great addition to this team. With the 13th pick for the Kings, I I look at a player like Jacoby Walter and Devin Carter and even Jared McCain. Those are the three players that I'm stuck on who to pick here. Um, Maybe I go Jacoby Walter if I feel that Malik Monk is going to be leaving this team. I know that he's going to be a free agent this upcoming year, and if the Kings don't want to pay him, maybe you do go with the Jacoby Walter being 6'5", so he can definitely play the shooting guard position. I know he started off hot at the 3-point line, and his percentages kind of dipped once the word got around that hey, this guy's a shooter, we need to focus on him, and I feel that's what made his percentages go down, is that all teams were focusing on him as their best player in Baylor. But having a player like De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, I think Jacoby Walter would just have a lot of open threes. And Jacoby Walter, actually, he's pretty good defensively. A lot of people compare him to KCP, so if he could be anything like a player like KCP to start off his career, I think that'd be a great selection. And I think he has higher upside than Devin Carter and Jared McCain, with them being smaller guards, and Devin Carter being a little older, Jared McCain not being that great of a playmaker. So maybe I don't go him. But yeah, I'm gonna go Jacoby Walter here with his defensive upside and 3-point shooting, um, to complement those players of De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Now for the 14th pick for the Portland Trail Blazers here. Um, I don't want to go point guard with Jared McCain, although I think Jared McCain can definitely go in the lottery. Um, Same thing with Devin Carter. I think he's is a great high IQ player, great defensively. But again, we already have a lot of point guards or guards on this team. Um, I don't want to go center since I picked Donovan Clingan. So with that being said, I'm looking at maybe Keyshawn George, or I'm actually going to go Tristan Da Silva. I think he's another winning player. Players that they need on this team. I feel like, again, they already have guards on this team who they have all the upside in the world with them. I think they just need, complementary role role players on this team now. And Tristan Da Silva, it will be a great addition to that. He's 6'9". He can, play the small forward, power forward positions that I feel that they definitely need. Tristan Da Silva, it can definitely space the floor. And you can never go wrong with more floor spacers on the team. So let's go Tristan Da Silva here. All right, so that completes the lottery mock draft for today. Again, let's go ahead and recap. We have Alex Sarr going number 1 to the Atlanta Hawks, Nikola Topic 2 to the Washington Wizards, Reed Shepard 3 to the Houston Rockets, Zachary Risachet to the San Antonio Spurs at 4, 5th pick Cody Williams to the Detroit Pistons, 6th pick Stephon Castle to the Charlotte Hornets, Donovan Clingan going 7th to the Portland Trail Blazers. Rob Dillingham going 8th to the San Antonio Spurs. Ron Holland going 9th to the Memphis Grizzlies. Utah Jazz selecting Matas Buzelis with their number 10th pick. Tijan Salon going number 11 to the Chicago Bulls. Dalton Connect going 12 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Jacoby Walter 13th to the Sacramento Kings, and Tristan Da Silva going 14th to the Portland Trail Blazers. that completes today's video. Again, if you did enjoy this content, please give it a like, subscribe if you are new. Again, this is the first video of my channel, so um, any support that I can get, I definitely appreciate it. And thank you so much for tuning in.